Y'all, how you doing? This is that guy Curtis from R&R Live Jam Sessions. I want y'all to tap in with me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time right here on Rainier Avenue Radio App. R&R Live Jam Sessions, baby. Holla.
This week's Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week award goes to James Newberger, Lincoln High School Lynx junior running back and inside linebacker.
That is James Newberger. Newberger's got some room.
Oh!
Two tackles off to the races. He could go all the way. He could go.
Touchdown! James Newberger made several clutch runs on offense to sustain Lincoln drives against Franklin and played a solid defense game as well, assisting the Lynx defense with stifling the run. Congratulations to this week's Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week, Lincoln Lynx Junior running back and inside linebacker, James Newberger.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Av Radio.
Welcome to this week's edition of the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. It's me, Tony B. I am your host. And here we go again. Started this on March 13th of 2020 and have done this every Friday since then. Excited to have back guests that have been on the show previously from the Foster Grandparent Program. If you missed that show, we're going to recap a little bit and tell you what this program is about. The Foster Grandparent Program. What does that mean when you think about that, when you hear about that? Do you think folks are adopting grandparents as fosters? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to get the explanations. Mary Floyd, who was with me the first time, is going to be back, and we'll talk to her about how she's been doing, how things have been progressing. And don't worry, we'll recap just in case you didn't see that first show, because this is like a follow-up show. But we're not going to forget about you. We're going to kind of recap and tell you how we got to where we are now. And then Adelheid Arbogast, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, is a program manager. She'll be here as well. And we'll talk about Homage Senior Services and what they do and who they are, and, of course, the Foster Grandparent Program. Later on tonight, we'll be bringing you high school football. Essentially, this is what amounts to the playoffs. Although there will be no district playoffs, no state tournament, and state champion. The Metro League has done an awesome and amazing job of providing young student athletes with the opportunity to get together, play the sport, and turn what was a fall season into a kind of mini spring season. And it's been great. The games have been great. The student athletes have really enjoyed this experience. And it's easy to forget the impact that sports can have on the overall mental health of everyone, but in particular athletes, young folks who need to run around. And there is also a special camaraderie that goes along with that, a sense of teamwork, and then the administration and the coaches and everybody doing such a great job of pulling this together and make it happen. So tonight at 4 o'clock, we've got O'Day versus Eastside Catholic. The winner of that game will essentially play for the championship. They'll play the winner of the Seattle Prep Ballard game. We're not doing that game tonight, but we are doing the Garfield Roosevelt game at 7 o'clock. So it'll be our first opportunity to take a look at Roosevelt. I want to remind everybody also that on Saturday, we'll be doing our community food giveaway again. That, of course, is the program where we give away food to the community at free 99, free dollars, no cost to you. We don't want to know your circumstances. We don't want to, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter if you're unsheltered. It doesn't matter if you're making six figures. just come get you some food. Sometimes that's just the way it is. And we've got a ton of stuff. This is in partnership with God Is. So we've had steak, we've had salmon. Of course, we have fresh produce. We've got dairy products. Sometimes he has some donuts. But we always have a bunch of healthy, good food for you. We'll be doing that again from 11 to 3. We didn't do it last week for the first time in months over the Easter weekend, but we're back at it again. And then next week, we'll be having our monthly fish fry as well. So you can come down and get you some free food. And if you are so inclined, you can also purchase some fish. And that will help to go support this program that we're doing with the community food giveaway. All right. The coronavirus is still here. We are hearing that there may potentially be a surge on the way. We do have the vaccine. A number of folks have gotten vaccinated. I'm not telling you whether not to get the vaccine. I will provide you with information so that you can make a decision for yourself on what works best for you. But right now, I want to welcome to the program. I guess I'll start off with Adelheid. Adelheid, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us back. We appreciate it.
Well, good to have you here. And we'll bring on Mary as well. Mary, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be back.
All right. Well, good to have you both back. Let's start off for anyone who may be familiar. Adelheid, I'm going to start with, let me back up. Am I saying your name correctly?
It's Adelheid. The H is silent. It's
the H
German.
is silent. Adelheid. Okay. And the last name?
Arbogast.
Arbogast.
Yep. That's German too.
Okay. All right. and Mary Floyd, I think I'm good there. Am I saying that correctly?
Correctly.
All right. Well, let's get started. I'm having a problem with these H's. Is it homage?
Adelheid. Adelheid.
No, I'm talking about homage, or is it homage?
Oh, homage. It is homage with an H.
Okay. See, I got
yes, with the H on homage.
Let's start with Homage Senior Services. Adelheid, why don't you start off with telling us about Homage Senior Services, who you are, what you do, how long you've been in existence, all the good stuff for folks who may not have caught the last episode.
All right, sounds good. Homage Senior Services is a smaller. Well, I say smaller, but we cover all of Snohomish County, and some of our programs go into King County as well. It has senior services, there's transportation, there's food services, mental health, there's home repair, there's just a wide variety of social services available as well. And Homage Senior Services bid for the grant, an AmeriCorps grant, to run the foster grandparent program. And they won the grant. And so therefore they're able to run this AmeriCorps grant within King and Snohomish County. Now, Homage has been around for 40 plus years. But of course, just to let you know a little bit about the foster grandparent program, and most people know about AmeriCorps, the foster grandparent program came around in 1965, and these grants are available for nonprofits or cities to run these programs throughout the United States. So previous to us, another agency had held the grant and was running it for quite a while, but we were really glad to be able to snatch that up and be able to be part of this program. So, and the foster grandparent program is a program where we find seniors, some are low income, some are not, but we find seniors who would like to help out in their community and work with children. And we go to nonprofits. So it could be YMCAs, it can be Boys and Girls Clubs, it can be elementary through high school, as long as it's a nonprofit. And we place them as mentors and tutors to help out the people within their community. So volunteers serve within their community. No matter where we are located, we help them to find something to do. And it's a threefold. It helps the teachers because they're able to have a little bit of, extra time on their hands because the students get one-on-one with the volunteers or small group interactions with the volunteers. So it really helps everyone out. The seniors, fight isolation, so they're able to make a difference in their community and really kind of get out there and continue to do what they do, which is, help everyone. And so, and they're, underutilized very clearly within our communities. So it helps the students, helps the volunteer, it helps the teachers.
And give us a little bit of background information on yourself and how you ended up at Homage.
All right.
Doing this particular, kind of work.
Yeah. So I have a background in childhood education and child psychology, and I worked in a nonprofit with nonprofits for about 14 years, working with children, elementary age and just the elementary age, like kinder through fifth grades. And after that, I started working with seniors, and I did some administrative in senior care, and I did some senior care itself. And my husband was transferred up to Seattle from the Bay Area. And as I was looking for a new career and I came across this job application, I went, no way, this is perfect, because then I can serve. I've been in both worlds. I've worked with kids, I've worked with school districts, I've worked with seniors, and this is just the perfect merge for both of those, worlds to collide and be able to help everyone to collaborate together.
Okay, Mary, hold tight. I'm going to come to you in a second. Adelheid, tell us again what happened when what we now know was the pandemic hit and services were shut down. You had the foster grandparent program going, which it required physically being there. And,
yes.
And everything was shut down.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
We Okay. So we got the word that this was going on and that we needed to keep our seniors safe. So we called all of our seniors and said, please don't continue to go in and serve at the schools and the daycares that you're serving at. We need you to be safe until we figure out what's happening and how long this is going to take and what's happening. And which was fine, because very quickly the schools and the daycares were automatically saying, we're closing, the kids need to stay home. So there was nowhere for the volunteers to serve, even if it had been, if we hadn't called them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our daycares and schools.
And I'm going to stop you right
Mm-hmm.
there because I remember the first interview, and we're saying it now a year later, but at that time, I remember a different feeling from you.
Yeah.
With a different feeling from Mary.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it feels good to be where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
At that time, there was just a whole different feeling of wow. And Mary, I'm going to talk to you about that too. I'm sorry, Adelheid. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, it was really just a big uncertain situation, and we didn't know what was going to happen. How long were our volunteers not going to be able to serve? And as things progressed and moved along, we realized this is going to be much longer term than we had expected. So I'll let you ask a few more questions before I expand upon that, and how we ended up continuing to be able to serve.
All right, Mary, I want to bring you back now. We shared information about Homage, and I kind of got into this. At the time, if you will take us back. Well, first of all, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
Good. And are you all vaccinated? Is that something that you wanted? If you wanted it, did you get your vaccination?
I did. I was just very excited to get it. It was a little challenging, but I did it. I got it. I got both shots.
You got both shots?
Yes.
Did you have any symptoms?
No, not at all. I could not hardly even feel her doing it, putting a needle in my arm, giving me my vaccination. I had no swelling, no itching, no rash, no nothing. And that was with both vaccinations, both vaccines.
Okay. And now that you've had the vaccine, do you feel different? Does it feel different with what you want to do with your life, with, again, maybe getting back to, and we'll talk a little bit about the things that you used to do. Is this at all returned a sense of normalcy for you?
Well, it makes me feel great. Being vaccinated, it just makes me feel wonderful because I feel protected, but I still do the hand washing. I wear the mask, and I'm still volunteering online with the children.
Mm-hmm. And this was a pretty big change for you. Initially, you were able to go to the school. You were able to go to the child care facility. And so we were back at that point where that wasn't happening anymore. And for you, putting this whole process online, if you can take us back to where you were at that point when you had to figure out a whole new way of doing things.
Well, I did, and it was a little challenging at first, but being online is wonderful with the children because I feel safe, and I know the children are safe. And the thing about what I see is they have adapted to online learning, and they're just really getting it. The grades and everything, they're just excelling.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit, first of all, about your engagement in the foster grandparent program. I mean, I was kind of joking for those of us who don't have grandparents, like, can we go out and foster a grandparent? No, but that's
I'd foster you, Mary. I'd take you home.
Let's talk about how you got engaged in the foster grandparent program, when you first heard about it, and what interested you in participating.
Well, after I retired from the bank, I knew that I was retired, but I wasn't ready to retire. And I wanted to do something to give back to the community. So I had to find my passion. And my passion has always been the future generation and the children. So at that time, it was Catholic Community Services. So I contacted them and I went to volunteer for Catholic Community Services. And then after Catholic Community Services, I guess Homage got it. So I went on with Homage because I knew that I was retired, but I didn't want the pressure and the stress of looking for a job. I wanted to do something fun and exciting. And working with the children gives my heart great gratitude and inspiration. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I love doing.
And let's talk about again, and I will get to where you're at now. But prior to this, when you were doing the site visits, what were some of the things that you would do to engage the youth who you were participating with?
The site visits.
The site when you were on location.
Oh, on location. Well, I would go into the classroom, and most of the time I would have a little desk or something with the child that needed special assistance and special help. And I would read to them, and I would go from class to class, helping the ones who really need it. And by the end of the school term where I was there, the parents was telling me how their child had excelled in their studies. So going into the classroom was wonderful, but I find that doing it online is still great. We can still do one-on-one with those children, and we can still do the helping them in a small group setting.
Okay, you know what? And I remember from our last interview, Mary, that you were hesitant is not the word, maybe unsure might be a better word, about what this was going to look like at that time, because it was going to be vastly different. And it sounds like you acclimated famously. Let's talk about that process for you, the adjustment that you had to make, and how am I going to make a connection if I'm not physically there? Because I think that was probably a big part of the satisfaction that you got out of it. But it sounds like now, hey, we worked this out, that's what foster grandparents do.
Well, I feel really connected being online with the children and volunteering, because they look forward to seeing me every morning, and I look forward to seeing them. and every day, and it's just being wonderful. I have no complaints or fault about anything. I'm just glad we're where we are, and being online with the children is great.
Well, you worked really, really hard too, Mary. Mary put in a lot of time learning how to use the Zoom, and yeah, she put in a ton of time. She talked with our IT department. We were on, training sessions together. She really did not give up, and honestly, I was so grateful for her can-do, attitude about this, because I was thinking, how are seniors going to learn this? But they learned it, and Mary was really a trooper.
Yeah.
Mary, let's talk a little bit about the evolution of that online relationship, how that worked out to you getting to the point where you are now. How did the engagement work with, again, doing this online, and how were the kids in saying, okay, well, this is different? How did it all come together? When did it start to click for you? When did it start to feel like, oh, we're going to make this happen?
Well, at first it was a little challenging to like she said, we had, computers and getting all that done and working with IT and all. But right now, clicking online and working with the children, and they saying good morning, Grandma Mary, and working with them, and we have maybe 20 plus children, and we split up into maybe 3 or 4 groups because we have someone else to come in and help us. And then after we do that, that's for math and that's for reading, and then they also do testing for the children to see where they are. And we have children that go and do their homework. They do the homework and they bring it back. And some of them are not ready to stop class when it's time for us to leave. But what the teachers started doing was giving them extra packages so they could take it home and continue working. So the children are adapting. I have adapted, and I just really love it.
And let's talk about that adaptation. Everybody doesn't have the opportunity to know what goes on in the online learning world. And you mentioned this before, but you're saying the kids are adapting, so they are learning. You're feeling as though again we're moving forward, and the most important thing here is that the kids who you are mentoring need help, and there has been an adjustment through this online process. And I'm asking you because your boots on the ground. Has this been successful? What rate of success? How's it working out?
Well, it has been very successful. And I'll tell you, the reason I can see it is because we do the testing, the teacher do the testing, and I get to see, who is where. And then I know that some of the children that's really participating in class, they are really doing their assignments and everything. They're just excelling, and they're excelling in class. And some of the children are even doing their homework and doing such a great job that they can come back to class and they can tell us what concept they use in figuring out their math problem. And these are kindergartners. We have worked with these children, and we have some of them that's reading now at 2nd grade level. And wow. Their math skills are far beyond expectation. So everything is going really well. And then when we are going back to class, the school is going back to class on April 12th. But we have so many parents that wanted their children to stay online with us until the teacher told me she was just concerned about how many. We got 11 extra children. So that means that we're going to, we'll figure out something. We'll make it work.
All right. It seems like we just started talking and we're almost out of time.
No.
So I'm for both of you now, moving forward, what does moving forward look like for the rest of the year, and then maybe into next year? Is there the possibility that this could just revert back to on-location visits? Do you think that there might be a combination of hybrid, or is online working out so well that this provides you with an opportunity to continue working like this? So that's a question for both of you.
Well, it is working well, and if it wasn't working well in our class, then the parents would not have sent us. We wouldn't have gotten 11 extra children to work with. So that tells us right there that the parents are not ready to send their children. Some of the parents are not ready to send their children back to school because they can see how they are excelling in their class and how, they're writing and how they're reading. So they figured, okay, this is a safe thing, and they're doing a wonderful job. And most of our children are ready for the next grade. And some of them are ready for second grade. That's just how well things are going online for us.
And I bring this up, Mary, because one of the things that has happened, along with all of the challenges that we face, in particular for kids of color, there were traumas that they were facing at school that they're no longer facing anymore. And so to hear that you've overcome this online bridge that needed to be, or divide that needed to be bridged, that's just awesome to hear. And the other part of it, Mary, was moving forward. How do you see moving forward? Would you like to continue with the online? Do you think that has been something now that, again, might be a very important part of how you do what you do?
Well, I am the person who like hands-on and in person, but as long as the pandemic, the figures are going up, the counts are going up. I don't know where we're going to be. I really do not, but I do know that the parents are happy with us and what we're doing in our class, and they're happy with the test scores. So, if they would go back to class, I would be excited about that too, but I am excited to be able to work with them online. And then what's a plus sign here is the parents are there at home. Either it's a grandparent, and they see what we're doing. They see how that we're working with these children. And sometimes I'll take extra time. If it's a child that I've noticed that really needs something, needs a little nudge, I will have them read me an extra book after class. And we just work hard with the children. And not only do we work on the academic part, we're teaching the children respect. We're teaching them how to be polite with one another. And all of that it comes into play of having a successful future. And when they share with one another and help one another, we have some that always want to help the other one if the other one doesn't have the answer. So that's just building a great relationship and meeting new friends online. So they're not suffering for anything online.
We're almost out of time, but if you could just quickly answer that question about moving forward as well from Homage Senior Services perspective about how you anticipate moving forward with this.
How we're going to move forward with this is just be as flexible as we can with the schools. If the schools would like to continue the online tutoring, we will do that. We really can't wait for the younger grades, the infants and toddlers up to the, kindergarten grades to be in person, because obviously, with an infant toddler center, they don't need online help. So a lot of our volunteers have been sitting out and waiting for this pandemic to end so they can get back into those infant toddler classrooms and really help physically with the kids. But as far as the schools are concerned, we're happy to continue to offer virtual service if that is easier for certain schools. We're happy if the volunteers want to keep doing that, we will keep supporting that now that we know we can do it. But yeah, I think we're going to just have a hybrid of both available based on what the schools or the nonprofits need.
Okay, and again, I kind of have to rush you. I can't believe this. It seems like just like last time we get started and then time is over. But I want to give you both opportunity for final words. Adelheid, I will start with you, and in your final comments that you'd like to share with us, please also include how folks can get in touch with you for whatever reason to find out more about this program. Maybe there's a grandparent out there who's like, hey, wait a minute, I want to do what Mary's doing.
Yeah, and that's one of the greatest things is to have these awesome volunteers that we already have to kind of help advocate for us and kind of get the word out there and let people know that we are looking for all people. Doesn't matter what your education level is. We are looking for people who just want to serve. And you don't have to have a degree to do that. You don't have to have a big education for it. If you have the heart for it and you have free time on your hands and you'd like to help your community, we would love that. We want all people. We want a huge diverse group. We don't care what your age is. If it's 55 and older, we can take you and we'll have you serve within your community. So if you'd like to, if you're interested, or if you know someone who you think might be interested, please contact us. You can contact Homage Senior Services, or you can contact the Foster Grandparent Program through our email, which is aarbogast@homage, HOMAGE.org. You can also probably check in the link that Rainier Radio will have, Rainier Avenue Radio will have on their website.
All right.
But please contact us.
Thank you, Adelheid. And Mary, final words, anything that you would like to share with our listening and viewing audience right now?
Yes, I would like to say if there's someone out there who are thinking about being a foster grandparent, I would say great idea. This is a wonderful place to be. And then if you have the opportunity to help these children, because foster grandparents can play a wonderful role in the classroom, because it helps the teacher. And also, since we're on VIRA, it keeps the kids from getting distracted by the family pet or a toy or anything. Because foster grandparents, we can share our knowledge and skills, and we can also share our eyes and ears. And that helps the teacher out immensely. We are it's just unmeasurable at what we do in the classroom.
Mary, it's so great to have been able to connect with you again. I so much appreciate your passion for what you are doing and what you're doing in our communities. Adelheid as well. Great to have y'all back. Again, thank you both for the work that you do. And I'm excited to have been able to share this with our listeners. Again, Homage Senior Services, the Foster Grandparent Program, been around since 1965. Thank you both. We're going to be back with more about the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities right after this.